Wow. I can't believe it. I have been alive for 28 years this day. It's crazy. It's just crazy. So, yeah, this is really what I want to do for my birthday. Just hang out and stream with all of you, my amazing friend, my amazing subscribers, and I hope to have other guests on just to hang out and just talk and chat and whatnot, just about whatever. So, that's about it. Oh, lovely Sherry. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Still. It's just like it's really crazy how far I've come. I know I'm like relatively like trying to build up my YouTube channel. I know I can try to do more from here, but I know gaming is still something I do, but also I want to do more stuff in the months to come and probably even further into 2023 and beyond. It's absolutely amazing. I know I've met at least a few good people to get me further started on my YouTube journey. But I know mostly from 2015, that's mostly what I've been doing. I've been mostly just trying to do, uh, just doing gameplay videos, gameplay clips, game live streams, and I've done some on Twitch as well. And it's great. It's just something fun to do. Thank you. Bus. I know. I can't. It's hard to pronounce that name. I'm sorry, but thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's tuning in now. I'm happy that everyone's here and showing up and showing support. But I don't know enough of all this stuff. It's really just fun to do YouTube and be a part of everything. And you also just want to just be full of life. And I mean, I've had my times where I've had my struggles through life, and I mean, when you think about it, I really wasn't in a very good place, not no less than like 2 or 3 years ago. I was probably at one of my lowest points, but now I've had time to adapt and grow. I'm living on my own. I'm happy. I'm happier now than I was. And I'm just glad that people are coming in here and showing support. All right, yeah, they're Killzone. What's up, man? Good to see you here in the stream. Always good to see you, man. Always great. But yeah, it is it is just like I have dealt with bullying when I was in high school, and it still affected me even 6 years after I had long since graduated. Mentally, I was broken, and I'm just in a better place now than I was. I've gotten a little much better shape, and I'm happy to be just hanging out here with everyone here. Big Chuck D, what's up? It's Big Chuck D. It's always good to see you, man. Yeah, we're gonna be kicking it for a while, and I mean, if anyone wants to come in and join on the panel, let me post it here. Oh, yeah, that's the wrong link. Wrong link. But I wanted to also there we go. So if you want to join in, I need to. So it's better I have someone to bounce off of. I'm probably gonna be doing this for at least a good 3, maybe 4 or 5 hours, depending if everybody wants to tune in and hang out and have a good conversation about this kind of stuff. Just hang out and just talk. We've been doing good. Doing very, very good. And I know also just like I still write a lot. I still write, but just being usually as a writer, it's always kind of hard to do. Just try to do stuff though. Hang on, I'm just trying to go through and like reach and try to retweet the stream if I can. Just a just a little crazy. Just bear with me here. Just bear with me. Nah, crud, I can't find it anywhere. Can't find that. Darn, can't find the darn link anywhere. Come on, Twitter, help me out here. Where did I leave it? Oop, crap. I'm really sorry about that. Probably gonna hear an echo from trying. Sorry, but yeah, anyone who's there is real. Because I mean, I really like to really just meet some people on the panel to come in and just like talk because it's kind of the same things though. I've had like I used to try to do a podcast. This is how I. Oh, oh man, look who's here. Yeah, Jonah, how are you, man? How are you? Good to see you. And I know there is one. I know everyone also who's in the chat. Go subscribe to Jonah Hendrickson. He's a pretty fun dude. Go so go give him him a subscription. He deserves it. Like everyone, like a lot of people who are like linked on my channel here. Until tomorrow. What does that mean? Until tomorrow? So is everything okay, Big Chuck D? Just want to know that. It's just really good. Everyone's here in the chat, hanging out, having a little fun, just talking. So yeah, and right there. If anyone is like you have StreamYard and you wanna join it, you can. The link is right there. Just trying to find this. Try to retweet the stream. There we go. But yeah, it's really crazy to go into because I know I've had a bit of an incredible year, and I know even there's also been another major up in the last year or so. One great story I've also written I'm very proud of. Let me see if I can do this in picture layout. Don't know how to do this. Well, it's not easy trying to do some stuff. Okay, yeah. Okay, share screen. Okay, Now then, I just need to. Okay, I'm not sure if I can just. Okay, let me put that up and go back to it. There we go. Now, this here is a little the very first writing project that. And there we go. Yeah, Babito Gamer, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. So, yeah, this here is a big writing project I've been working on. This is known as Shadow. If you can already see the title here, just kind of use that as a bit of a sort of pseudonym. But this story is more of is a good horror story I've written, and it's kind of a bit of a tribute to my late grandmother. Again, if only I wish that she lived long enough to actually hear the story. I mean, but it's an honor. But it's just but it was just I felt like there was a lot of passion I put into this, because even then the protagonist is the biggest thing about them is that they really are more afraid of losing those they love, and it's a really sweet and somber. It's a really sweet story. But also yet again, it's the big thing that everybody is afraid of here. I mean, again, I'm not really good at trying to understand how everything on StreamYards works. Yeah, so let me see here. All this is just I know I can scroll through some of the stuff, but here is just some scrolling through of what I'm doing, of what I've done with this, and this is a very complete story. I'm working on the second part, and I've made this into a full-on anthology, but again, I have been blocked a lot of the time, and it really plays a lot of role. I mean, like there is something like you would think. Like, another thing about some of these characters is that there is a bit of a fear, but there's also underlying fears with some of these characters, and this is all written from a first person perspective. It will, because the person who says the opening stinger title here is the person who is the primary narrator of the story itself. And I know it shifts between perspectives of characters, and they will mention other characters so you know who exactly is speaking in a lot of these scenes. And I know people will say about a first person perspective that it's pretty limiting at times, but I really think it's fun because it really gives a little bit more uniqueness to the story, because you're hearing it from the very character's lips. So there you go. So it's good. Yeah, but Babito Gamer, don't it's nothing to worry about. She lived a very long life, and it was it was just like when I heard that she passed, it was like, I know that was the one time I just broke down. But I'm going to tell you something a little interesting. I think She knew that I was gonna miss her the most, and I felt a warmth around me as I was sitting there sobbing. I figured it was her. She gave me one last hug before she had to go. And I guess the sign of me just finally moving away and just said that I think it's time for me to go. And that was about it. It was very somber, but but she finally was able to finally let go. And I know last year it was tough for me to try to reconcile her death, but over the holidays, that's where I truly reconciled everything. I got to visit her grave and just told her how things have been with me for the past year, and that was it. That was it. So that's just kind of how it goes. But another thing that has been like always something that's kind of that's been nagging me for the past couple of years is the fact that, or no, I know not the past couple of years, just recently, we all know that there's been like, oh, that's not good. Yeah, man. Like I said, if anyone wants to come in and join the stream, yeah, I already got the link to the thing right here in the chat, so you all can come in and follow. So that's about it. But yeah, I know the whole thing. I'm not sure what is anyone who's still in the chat. What is everybody's thoughts on the whole thing about Activision being bought out by Microsoft and vice versa, Bungie being bought by Sony? Nobody. And it's really crazy that I don't really have many. There's nobody really There's nobody really to. You guys, nobody wants to come on and talk. Yeah, apparently because of all the controversy they've been under, it pretty much just like it lowered their stock to the point where Microsoft could just say yoink, and now they own the rights to Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and then dozens of other IPs. But I mean, given all the stuff they've been doing, I'm not surprised by it. And also, yeah, they also do, and also Activision and Blizzard merged, so technically they own two companies now. It's crazy. But and even then, I had almost no idea. I heard about this on Midnight's Edge in the morning. Is that I found out that Bungie was acquired by Sony. But in hindsight, they should have went with Sony in the beginning, because I'm telling you guys, if they actually went directly to Sony with Destiny, I mean, heck, they even had some design notes they gave Sony when it came to them designing the PlayStation 4, especially its controller, making it more ergonomic for shooters and whatnot. But they also really could have gone to them and just, Destiny probably could have been a PlayStation exclusive. Not only would have been the killer app for the PlayStation 4, but also it would, I mean, without the influence of Activision, cutting out content and just repurposing it as DLC. I mean, we've already seen it with like the two. I mean, that was the sort of trend we all saw with the Destiny games. You had two small expansions, and you had the common expansion with the Taken King, and then you had what was that other one? But I don't know. Wasn't really. I stopped really paying attention to Destiny. Heck, I didn't really play it. I mean, I played Destiny 2's beta, but I actually thought to myself, this game is really boring. It's not as good as like Borderlands. And that's just kind of how it goes, though. But the fact that this is happening now, I don't exactly think, but still, they say they're going to be committed to doing more. Sorry, just trying to keep my light here. They're more committed to doing more multiplayer stuff now, but still, Sony still needs to stay at course of what they do, making good single player exclusives, and Microsoft. They've still been doing. They've been doing a great job with Game Pass, and there's a lot more things to do. There's a lot more things they can do now. But I know Sony and Activision, Sony Activision. Oh darn! They all are gonna be like still committed, and they're still gonna like be obligated to put games out multi-platform. But but I only think that now with this. I think Activision servers are going to get a big boost in efficiency now because I think they've been using netcode servers that have just been very bad. I mean, CTR servers were not very good, and I really, truly, thoroughly love that game. But there wasn't really much to really do. Okay, there's not really much else to chat in the chat, but I mean, I really need to have some people here on the panel here so we can we can just talk about other things. Oh man. So just looking through some things, but and geez, I need some. Geez, stream is really gonna be boring without anyone to talk to. It's crazy. Some people I know are working, but okay, let me just try to see if I can do something else. I gotta find something that I can't really, like I don't want to get flagged either, but I want to just say something that show something that people will enjoy watching. All right. Discord message. Okay. So yeah, Vito, welcome back. Just trying to think of something to do. I was thinking, hopefully there will be a guest coming on so I can actually have someone to bounce off of. You versus Babyface. Oh, I think I think I got the perfect one. I'm not sure if I can really do this or not. I don't want to get flagged. Okay, sorry. Let me just try to lower the sound down a little bit so I don't get flagged, I think. But yeah, here we go.
Well, see, I made it this high for precious. Super intended for us. Welcome. I go for free, yeah, for and fun, for just for lunch, and yeah. No, because my nose is rude. But what if I were to purchase fast food and disguise it as my own again? They actually did it seem Here we go. With his crazy explanations, the two first
Yeah, you gotta love these like variations on something, but it's completely different.
Too much. Oh yeah. See. Superintendent, I was just stretching my legs on the window sill. Some drink exercise. To join me, why is there snow coming out of and see? No, that isn't snow. It's steam. Steam from the steam clams were that is. Steam clams. Ooh. Superintendent, I go for ready for not watering hamburgers. I we were Latin steamed clams. No, I said steamed hams. That's what I call hamburgers. You call
Well, I don't want. I'm just doing it because I don't want to get. Hopefully, I don't want to get flagged for this. But I just like got nothing better. I got nothing to do, and I don't have any panelists to talk to. I wanted to intend to do this for at least a couple hours or so.
No, no, it's by me expression. I see. You know these hamburgers are cross in the ones they see. No, fashion in burgers. All family recipe for steamed hams. Yes, and you call them steamed hams.
They're obviously grilled.
You know the one thing I should. Excuse me for 1 second.
Jeez.
Well, that was wonderful. Good time was that all too. Yes, I should be good for what is happening in there. This time of year, this time of day in this.
Yeah, okay, so I think that one's now we should be looking at, but there's another videos that something that I also love watching. I'm still glad it's actually out there. Watch a few of these. Anybody? Oh, back in the glory days of machinima.com. Epic sequel to Master Chief Sucks in Halo.
Oh man, we're fucked. We're fucked. You make a run for it.
Yes, and also the guy who did it, all he could really was limited to was doing all the voices on his own.
Jesus Christ! Oh man, we're dead.
Hold on. Who's that over there?
The glorious days of Halo Machinima.
Is that?
It's Master Chief.
Hello. Hey guys, what are going on in this level?
We need your help, Chief.
Can't escape. We're under too much fire.
Don't worry, guys. It's Kay.
Yeah, and they use the micro, and of course, what makes the whole thing funny is that the Master Chief action figure is being done by the Microsoft SAM speech engine for Windows XP.
What are you?
I are guy who can teach you lesson.
We're safe.
Way to go, Chief.
Okay, that's a little bit. That might be a little bit. I totally forgot to put my headphones in.
Hey, look, it's one of the guys from the Bungie staff. Hey, Master Chief. We just wanted to personally congratulate you on your performance in Halo 3.
Why, thank you, good sir.
We here at Bungie would like to present to you the grand prize for achieving such a feat. $1 billion.
Okay, I think maybe it might sound a little better. The Master Chief action figure has, honestly, just having an implausible fantasy about being the greatest of all time.
Hello.
Yeah, hey, I got a package here for delivery for someone named John.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is this John?
Yeah, come up, please.
Alright, thanks.
What is this? Are this recon armor?
I have no idea what it is, man. I just need you to sign on this document here.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy is literally doing this all himself.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. What the fuck is this?
Hey, stop being AFK. We need help.
I are sorry.
Dude, you fucking suck, man.
Maybe you should smoke my pole.
Yeah, and of course, again, back in the good old days where everyone was really being angry, everybody was still shit talk each other.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
I don't know. People still do it, but now we have party chat mostly to do that kind of stuff in now.
These are not good.
The action figure escaped. Guess who it is?
Come out, you bitch. Now. Sad face. Who the fuck are you?
My name is the Arbiter, motherfucker.
I see you bought the heroic map pack.
Yeah, I used John's credit card.
Who's John?
The human that lives here with me.
I see. Do you think the maps were worth $10?
Yeah, what? Who doesn't have $10? I wipe my ass with $10.
That's not what I asked. I asked if you thought that the maps were worth it.
I don't understand the difference.
I didn't think so.
It's like
So
stop
why
motion
do
version
you
of
think
Perfect
the maps are
Stranger,
worth
essentially.
$10?
Why?
Rat's Nest and Standoff just don't appeal to me very much gameplay wise, so really, if I paid the $10, all I'd probably be doing is messing around in Foundry, which doesn't really seem worth a sixth of the game's retail price to me. And the Foundry Sandbox idea sounds like something that should have shipped with the game to begin with, considering Halo 3 has 11 maps, not enough of which are close quarters maps.
Yeah, this is one of like the guy who made this from. You might know him as John Graham. He's still, I think he already has his own channel, but he used to work for Machinima.com making this show. But after you know all the stuff that's happened with them.
My point is that I don't really think the heroic map pack is worth it. The map pack should have been a freebie, in my opinion.
That was quite a mouthful. I guess you are used to that kind of thing.
Nice one. I see what you did there. Instead of addressing my points, you took everything that I said and turned it into a sexual joke, implying that I suck on men's penises.
I'm sorry about that. I know, but again, this channel is not meant for kids. But
Let's see. Ha 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 ha. You
Fuck
fucking
this.
suck.
I'm not playing anymore.
Fucking crybaby. Ha ha. Yes. Overkill. This is gonna be a great relationship, I can tell.
yeah, so I'm really sorry. There's nothing really to do because I can't really. I don't have anybody to talk to. Crap. So yeah, anybody to play off of. Just trying to get the word out. Oh. I'm in Fade. What's up? How are you? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I left the Ingrid here in the chat. If you want to come on in and join, it'd be a lot easier. I know. It's not really. I haven't really had anyone to talk to for the past 40 minutes. It's just been really kind of crazy to talk to anybody. I'm just trying to also get the word out and whatnot. All right. Okay. Okay, just gonna. Okay, I think I got the perfect thing to be watching right now.
There's my ball. Sweet. I never really loved what you said.
Move that gear.
Yeah, look at this ball bastard.
You're that. Oh, damn it.
Ooh.
I'm gonna move that gear up. I got a good feeling. No worries. No worries, mate.
Move it up, move it up.
Move these things up.
Oh my God.
Ooh, ow, I'm dying here. Control the thing.
It's puts his voices over all these much funny bits. Hilarious.
Damn it. Get
You know what? You're not scary. You're just weird. What is that?
Magnificent. Gentlemen.
Ow.
No. These kids, they don't know how to. Gear forward. Coming through. Today is a good day. Beep-a-boop, outstanding.
Okay, okay. Jeez, that's jeez. I don't understand what. That's not how we don't scare people. Another example.
What the fuck? I feel alive, wizard man. Oh,
Yeah. Eh. So yeah, this has just been a little weird stuff doing. Oh, what do you know? And here we have our first guest here. Our first guest here. Welcome, Ahmed Fate.
Hey, what's up, man?
How's it hanging?
It's going all right, man. Happy birthday, man.
Thanks. Just, oh man, the past 40 minutes I've just been hard just trying to kill the time here. But I'm glad you're here, man.
Oh yeah, man. Came mix it up with you a little bit for a little while. I gotta get to bed.
Yeah,
here.
I know.
But so what have you been up to, man?
Just trying to do what I usually do. Trying to write, just trying to live, and that's about it. And I know I kind of made a point of what I was kind of did a little bit of what I shut off a little bit of what I was doing.
Yeah.
You can probably go back through the stream. I shared it earlier, but hang on, I'm going to share this.
Oh, okay. Is that what you're writing?
Yeah. Well, at least one of the things I'm writing. Now, let me just try to get onto that thing. This is the first part of a horror anthology I'm working on. I pretty much completed this one. This was also a thing, side note, this was a bit of a tribute to my late grandmother who passed away August of 2020, and I started writing this in October, and I was going to challenge myself to try to get it done by Halloween, but again, blocked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But eventually I did get it done.
How many pages?
29. It's 29 pages. I think I kind of write them in a bit of a short story format, but there's enough plot in there to try to do it. But also another thing about it is that it is written in a first-person perspective. So,
okay. There's a lot of I's and me's and
yeah, and I know the person who when you look at this opening sentence, this is who's being told is the primary narrator, this character Christian here.
Yeah.
So that's mostly what it's all about, but it also will shift perspective to the other characters because mostly this centers around like four 8th graders. And of course, they obviously go inside this titular dark mansion. The title itself, I actually had that idea for a title because a long time ago, this was actually part of like a bunch of story ideas I had that were mostly just like self-inserts, like a self-insert story, and inserting other like people I had known at the time. But the larger story idea, then it evolved in actually having actual real characters. Because the original title for the story itself originally was called Mansion of Nightmares, but the story thread still stays the same. There's some person that is haunting the mansion, and it's obviously a part of some larger curse that has a major effect on the town they live in.
Oh, okay.
And there's even greater stuff that is going to be set up in the final story. I teased the title and this on my Instagram, and I probably think I should try to do more of it. But Cliff Notes version right there at the end.
So is it like young teenagers or
I'd say yeah, they're probably at least like they're early teens, and I know
so like Stranger Things or something like that?
you could say that. I mean, it's not like they're not more or less like it's kind of like that in some way, but it's not like again, it's a really more or less just pays homage to like classic horror films like Man House on Horror Hill, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the next story, hang on if I can pull that up. This is the second part of the anthology, and title is really good. But the character, but it's one of the different characters who is now the new primary narrator right here. That's name's highlighted right here. And she kind of gives a bit of a rundown of what happened, of what happened in the last book, and then it sort of goes into the present because this takes place 2 years after where the last book left off, and more or less the antagonist is essentially more or less like a bit of a rock band, but the strange twist about them is that they're all monsters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we sort of get some things that are set up about the fact there's a larger prophecy about this eclipse, and that the town they live in is more of a convergence point where the supernatural realm and our world are basically intertwined or connected. So creatures from this realm can actually enter it. So there's basically other classic monsters like of course, like werewolves, witches, and stuff. But even then, our world is more or less connected to us. What I am pretty much saying, you could essentially see it as hell, but it's not like how Dante depicted it. It's more like a realm that's nothing but it's just dark and desolate.
Yeah.
So the idea that we have our world, our Earth, and our physical universe, and these two other realms, which of course you could easily see as both heaven and hell. And it talks about stuff like higher divinity and stuff like that, and it kind of gets goes into a little bit of a mythos setting up more.
And it sounds like you can go a long way with it.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm probably going to make this at least 12 parts, and I mean each of the 4 characters are going to be the primary narrators of each of these stories, but I know the primary one of this story is this character Kiki, and we're going to learn a little bit more about them, and there's something different about them because in many ways I also sort of had some inspiration from the world of darkness. I'm not sure if you've heard of that like tabletop RPG, I know, but also it was a bit of inspiration for this horror themed game called Hunter the Reckoning. So you're gonna get a little bit of vibe from this and the later parts of the anthology.
Oh, okay. World of Darkness.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. They got some nice hoodies.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm not sure if you can see it on camera here, but I also got a shirt. I got an awesome shirt that I got a couple years ago from my sister. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but
is that Van Damme?
Yep, and of course it's my favorite movie.
Yeah, I love that movie, man.
Yeah, but that's the greater thing about about all of this, and you just watch Smeg 4. Oh yeah, all that stuff with Super Mario. Yeah. We can do that. But like I said though, I just want to share some of the stuff I'm doing. So I mean, I've been on streams before and I know I've talked about how much I'm writing, but I just want to let everyone know I'm not grifting or disclaiming I'm doing it. I actually am writing this stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see that, man. That's cool, dude. I like horror, man, especially when I was a kid. I really loved it.
What else?
Let's see. So is this the main project you're working on right now, or?
I'm alternating. I'm trying to like, do that. I'm also trying to like do new drafts of my magnum opus story. But I know here, let me just try to bring it up. Hold on. These are some old, no, these were like very, very older drafts here.
Your Magnus Opus, is that going to be like horror? Or?
No, my magnum opus is a superhero story, and
okay.
let me show you. These were like my old original rough draft for these stories. You're gonna see it right here, and I'm not. Yeah, you see it right there, and right therein lies the type. Let me see. Oh, it's not the right one I'm looking at. Can you see it?
I see the Shadows of the Dark Mansion.
Hold on, let me change it up. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, share screen again. Yeah, I know.
Second.
Yeah, there we go. You can see it now. Yeah, these are like, again, no, just very bland. But this is my magnum opus story.
Oh, Adam Omnix.
Yes.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, because again, like I said, I have like had this idea in my head ever since I was 15 years old. And I mean, if I've been on streams before, because I want to let everyone know I am a huge fan of Power Rangers, and a good chunk of the story is inspired by it. But yeah, I know. But these are much older. These are much older drafts that are, again, you can tell this was written by a very young, naive teenager at the time. We're very, very old.
I've been reading some Power Rangers comics, man, the last couple weeks.
Yes, the boom stew. I need to find a way to get my hands on those. Those are so interesting. It really evolves the mythos of the universe itself.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so much, Jet. I watched a lot of the Power Rangers, the initial generation of them with Tommy and all them.
Yeah, the original 6 seasons from Mighty Morphin to In Space. But I still think I'm glad that if you want to, I always think if you're gonna get somebody invested in Power Rangers, I know most people again only know of the original series, but you also have to like, you have like the other ones past that. They're split in the various eras: the Zordon era, post Zordon era, Disney era, and now Hasbro era. So yeah, there has been a point. So yeah, everyone who's watching, there was actually a point where Disney actually owned the Power Rangers for a time. And I know the only reason why people they lost interest is because of because of the writer strike of 2007, and even then production was kind of like rough for, I'd say, Jungle Fury and RPM. But out of all of them, only 5 of those 8 seasons they did were actually good, because it started off with Ninja Storm, which was probably like one of the first seasons that was under Disney, and the first one where they had to move the production of the show to New Zealand so they could save money on costs. And they had a couple producers from the last season, Wild Force, to help in the transition of power, no pun intended, for the franchise. But yeah, this story, it's all about a young kid just living in his town, but it's just plagued with crime. And of course, simply because he wants to go out and do good.
Yeah.
He goes out, fights crime, and he thinks that, it's just going to be easy because I'm just dealing with a whole bunch of, thugs and a bunch of thugs. But he starts dealing with criminals that more or less have superhuman abilities. Like, the villain he fights in this story, I know it's kind of like, again, the text is really not being clear on this. It's maybe a little better, but yeah. So all this stuff, these are.
How big is his home city? Is it like a huge city, or is it?
I'd say it's like fairly big. It's like not. It's like it's not like New York City big. It's like close to like maybe L.A., San Francisco big, close to that.
Okay.
It's like just like at least like 2 million people live in the city. But another interesting thing about the lore is that in their reality, you can actually build entire cities with self-operating construction equipment.
Yeah.
So it really cuts down on all the costs. I mean, sure, in the short term there'll be a lot of noise pollution and whatnot, but other than that, you'll get everything up and running in no time. And now you'll have everybody living in the city. But also the other problem is that there's also a very low police presence too. And not to mention, in the newer drafts, I've referred to the idea that these cities the city and many others like it around the United States are very self-sufficient and self-sustaining. So if anything goes wrong, they can have enough stuff that they can do. Like they're like greenhouses and stuff that are built into old buildings. I had even cities like Detroit have been converted into like self-sustaining cities, all due to this Japanese company that is.
Do you say it's in the future?
Yeah, at the time, yeah, I say this is in the future, but when I first created it, it's not like in the not too distant future. Because when I first conceived the story back in like 2010, the story was supposed to take place in 2025 to 2027. And I know, given that not really much has really changed with our world, I mean, but in like aesthetic wise, it still much feels like our world, but there's still like some elements to it that feel very futuristic.
Yeah.
So nothing really much has changed, but I've evolved it more that like the geopolitics of the world, power is more or less shared in their world. So we know right now that China and Russia are not really on the best terms with them.
Yeah.
But it's more of a dynamic of, instead of east versus west, it's more of north and south, like north and south. And like the less fortunate regions of the world are basically seeing us as seeing like the nations of the US, Russia, China as the enemies, is like aggressors in the world. And we're still like, and even then, like the people who have been driven like communism, they still see nations as our nation and others who are basically becoming guiding hands in the world as the aggressors.
Right.
So we still see stuff like the wars in the Middle East. We're seeing the same type of stuff happening across Southeast Asia with Sino-Chinese and of course, Russian and of course Soviet elements that are still carving up territory in the Middle East. But they're largely Russia and China are mostly sticking to those spheres of influence to deal with those threats. And I know we still send small detachments of our own troops to reinforce them. But another point of contention here also is that there's also a lot of fascist and communist elements that are propping up across South America and even joining forces with local drug cartels. So the dichotomy of, instead of it being north versus south, it's east. Or east versus west. It's more north versus south.
Right.
Exactly.
That's cool, man. So how old is the hero again?
He's supposed to be again in his early teens.
Early teens.
Yeah. And of course, he's got a hacker genius best friend.
Yeah.
A girl who's a love interest, and of course, his mom is a reporter, and his dad, who is deceased, was a former Navy SEAL turned police officer, but he was killed in the line of duty.
Oh, okay.
But again, the antagonist, or at least the main antagonist, is connected to my protagonist's father in a way. So it makes the dynamic between them even more budding, to put it.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like maybe like the Prowler and Miles Morales type
Yeah,
deal,
in a way, but
it's not the same.
but
It's
not
not
in the
the
way.
same.
It's not really more of a familial
Yeah,
tie in
yeah,
a way. It's not like that.
yeah.
But
But it has meaning. It's
yes, it does. And I mean, I really think this story is like near and dear to me, and I just truly love the fact that I have written this story. But like I said, this is one of the older drafts. This is like the first chapter of in this series of short stories. I mean, there is enough here to fill up a book, but looking beyond this, this was like only 7 pages long when I first wrote this.
yeah.
And I'm gonna go back through. Yeah, all these are very, very small, but here, let me see if I can find it. I think, yeah. Oh, wait, no, this is the wrong one. It's the same crap. You could this next chapter here, which is again one of the older drafts. It's more of a. Let me share the screen. Don't show these tips again. This is more of a This is more of a filler episode. This is more like a filler chapter where again you get a small little rundown, and again you sort of like go through all this stuff. It's basically like the villains, a villain who we haven't really been introduced to yet.
Yeah.
We more or less like get up. There's like a couple of like AWOL National Guardsmen that are hired by the villain to basically steal something from the mayor, and just coincidentally, my character's love interest is actually the mayor's daughter, and of course she throws like a party while they're out of town, attending a benefit gala for the governor of the state. And
so is she wild or what?
yeah, she's not really wild. I mean, she does do some things because she's she is a bit of a popular girl, but she's not like the thing though. But I think in these older drafts, she's a little more passive when it came to certain things, like when the characters get bullied. Mostly it was happening to his best friend, who's the hacker. And of course, we also kind of get introduced to that she has friends, but even then, later on, like the newer drafts, I've introduced like she has like an entire like group to like identify with.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing. I actually thought that's a better idea. You have like other characters that the characters hang out with other than each other. So that's sort of the dichotomy here with these characters.
So
and of course, sorry.
I was just gonna say, let me ask you something, man. Is it like graphic or do you kind of tone it back for like a PG?
It's kind of toned back. I mean, I do want to think about, the idea that it is like, it's like cut back to where it's more like hard PG-13.
Yeah.
I don't entirely want to see these characters get their limbs hacked off or anything else like that. So at best, you're probably going to see like cuts or scrapes on them or bruises. And I know people will in these stories, people will get shot.
Yeah.
Not necessarily saying the hero, but there are moments where the villains are going to use actual guns and not just like blaster weapons.
What about your horror? Is that more of an R rating, or are you still kind of keeping that tone down?
Oh, now it's definitely more graphic. It is, because I mean, literally, one of the scenes one of the many scenes is like, and even in like Shadow's Dark Mansion, there's a scene where the character is like trapped in an illusion, and he sees like one of the characters like literally rip their face off in front of them.
Yeah, that's a little bit more.
Yes, it is. I know. But like I said, though, these characters, I think again, the characters are what really make me truly shine about what I like to do about a writer. What I like being about a writer is making up characters.
Yeah. So when you write these stories, do you I find sometimes I just discover what I'm going to write page to page. Sometimes I have a plan, but how do you go about? Do you dream it all up and then put it down, or you kind of discover as you go?
Oh, this is an interesting thing. I've had a lot of these ideas, some come and go, but I still pretty much have nailed down exactly how the full plot of the entire series is supposed to go.
Right.
At least for my magnum opus story. It is. I actually sort of do this in an interesting way, and I got inspired by this when I was in back when I was in like 8th grade. We actually saw a guy who was an actor, and he actually did an entire rendition of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, but he was acting out all the characters, and it was actually interesting. So he just slightly raises his pitch, lowers his pitch for certain characters, stuff like that. And I do this exact same thing when I'm getting in the zone and trying to at least like think about my characters, and just it's interesting even trying to do all the fight, trying to at least try to attempt to do all the fight moves they do in these stories.
Okay, so you kind of you're putting a lot of thought into it. Like, so you told me a little bit about some of the world in your superhero story.
Yes.
Do you go deep on that thought on like world building, like some Tolkien depth, or
Well,
you just
it's not really Tolkien depth. I mean, there is still certain things that have happened in our world that still do happen, but like I said, their world sort of divulges from ours, like right around the time the Soviet Union falls and communism across Europe and Asia fall. I mean, they have become like Russia and China are more democratic in this world, but like I said, the Sino-Chinese and Soviets are not willing to give up, but they're more scattered and isolated pockets across the Middle East, and they're just fighting them in nasty ground wars most of the time.
Yeah.
But like I said, though, they still believe, but even then, there are some military leaders in their world that believe that somehow they could regain power in the world, and they could still be a threat on the world stage. So they conducted military projects to try to counteract that, and this is what ties into the main villain plot of the story, because the villains were actually a part of these military projects, or at least people, when someone tried to replicate the same experiments. But the main villain himself was truly actually a part of these experiments.
There it is.
Yep. Good old fashioned military experimentation. I just like that idea, hint of conspiracy because it makes perfect fiction, even in the context of a superhero story.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Is that a F-22 Raptor on your wall back there?
Yes, it is. I also got like a thing. I also got a poster of the Blue Angels, and above my desk, I have a picture of the Thunderbirds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Let's
see, Thunderbirds, F-16.
F-16s they're flying. I think they said they're going. Aren't they? I think they said they're going to be changing over to the lightning fighters at some point in the future. But I know the Blue Angels are still flying flying F-18s. Yes, yeah. And of course they're a Navy flight team, and the Blue Angels are purely Air Force.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone in my family are all especially my grandfather, who served in the Air Force, but it was back during like the 60s, and I know he still served and he sort of topped out at sergeant. And even sometimes when I do refer to him, I just refer to him as sergeant, salute him.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, my dad made me learn jets when I was a kid. He was Vietnam vet. But
did he fly a Phantom fighter?
No, he was airborne.
So he was the guy that dropped feet first into hell.
Yeah. But no, I noticed that Raptor on your wall, so I figured you like jets to have that.
And I know. Yeah, everything here. This icon was designed by a friend I used to play Titanfall with. He did me and another buddy. I hope he comes on, or if he can get on and come in for this stream, because I know I've done streams with. I've done like my gaming podcast stream with him before, but he also has a thing that was designed by this same guy. And I know I haven't really had much contact. I haven't had much contact with this guy who designed it since then, but it's good. But I mean, it was cool. It was cool when I've used it to good effect. So it's a tiny bit of branding I got here.
Oh yeah. Well, it makes sense now, man, to me.
Oh yeah.
So that's it all come back around, man. Did you ever play Hawks or let's see, Ace Combat?
No, but I remember vaguely playing Rogue Squadron when I was
Oh, okay.
little.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know, but also the same thing is, if there's anyone who's really into flight sim games, it's definitely my dad. He always had the flight sticks always at the ready. He just always had a lot of fun playing those games, and it was always fun to fun to watch him play it.
Yeah, I think I really got into Ace Combat 5, probably back in 2005.
Yeah, I think the one we had on 360 was Ace Combat 4.
Okay.
And heck, I think another thing we had back in the day was, I'm not sure if you know of this game. It's called Steel Battalion.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, we actually had the control sticks for that game.
Okay.
And heck, for a while they actually stood there collecting dust in our house for a while, and then eventually we just sold it off.
Yeah, I see that controller now. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's just there's always those fun things to do. I mean, it's just, still bonding with my dad in gaming. It was always just fun, and heck, even my older sisters all were always loved watching either one of us play games.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's real cool that he liked flight simulator stuff. I remember the Ace Combat 5. They actually had, you could fly. I think you fly F-22.
Yeah.
But they had a mountain that was hollowed out, and they had it like the Death Star. So your last mission, you flew through the mountain in tunnels and stuff like that, and you had to keep from hitting the walls. It was nice.
Yeah, and another good flight sim I remember seeing my dad play was on the Sega Dreamcast a long time ago. It was called Air Force Delta. It was developed by Konami. Yeah, so again, just going through missions, taking down enemies, stuff like that. But it still had it really had some of the most awesome briefing music I've ever heard anyone play in the game. I think I know the entire soundtrack's up there on YouTube, but I don't want to try to get flagged. I'm so worried I'm gonna or just showing some videos, try to kill some time.
Well, what have you watched recently?
In terms of videos
or movies or streaming or
yeah, I've just been watching through. Heck, I was watching an old sci-fi movie, a movie that was on the Sci-Fi Channel a long time ago. I'm glad I tracked down the DVD for it years ago. I found it at this drift store in Nashville, Tennessee called McKay's Books.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a movie called Alien Siege, and the synopsis of the story. I mean, I wish I could just do. I'm gonna do it. There's no better time to do a full-on plot synopsis. Is that aliens arrive on Earth, an alien species, humanoid, show up to Earth, and they pretty much have a giant thing that could be considered a Death Star spear weapon called a Reg. And the first thing they do is just shoot it down on Earth, and pretty much blow up a city with it.
There's two of them. There's one from 2005 and one from 2018.
Yeah, the 2005 one is the one that I have, and I know most people don't. I think that's the thing that gets confused. But that was on that movie was on the Sci-Fi Channel back when it actually was spelled sci-fi and not the
how
it's spelled now. Yeah. But it's crazy. They destroy a city and they say, here's the deal, humanity. You hand over 8 million people so we can rent them down and use their blood as a cure for our dying species.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the thing is, of course, all the world's nations are forced to capitulate and just basically capture people. But I know that's the whole thing. The gist of it, The thing already in the first few minutes is the biggest problem already in the film. One, they literally say that all their other nations around the world are literally emptying all their prisons to try to meet the quota, which again is only 8 million people. And we don't give them what they want, they'll blow the earth up, or at least render it uninhabitable.
Yeah.
So yeah, but in the United States, there is a lottery system in place. So anybody through random selection, whether they use consensus stuff or anything, if you are chosen, it doesn't matter if you have family or friends, you're going, whether you like it or not, for the interest of the United States and the interest of the whole human species. But the whole story sort of centers around a doctor who actually researched the technology of the aliens before they arrived on Earth.
Yeah.
And of course, it's all about him trying to save his daughter.
She's in the lottery.
Yeah, she gets picked. But again, like I said though, and he also like groups up with a team of rebels that are trying to fight back against the aliens, even trying to save people who are set to be harvested.
Yeah.
And they're being sent up to the alien slaughter ship up in orbit.
Oh, it's got a Grief Karga in it, man.
Yeah, yes, I know. Also, Carl Weathers is in this movie
Yeah.
as like the general overseeing everything. And I know still he's kind of hesitant about dealing with all this stuff, but again, he's doing it for the interest of the United States government and for the interest of the human race. But this is just like, you really think we're gonna? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised even how relevant this would be today. I mean, if this sort of same plot happened, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if our own government sold us out and
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of fit. It's interesting. Like, I didn't know it existed. This sounds interesting, really.
Yeah, but like I said though, if other nations are emptying out their prisons, I mean, do you have any idea how many people are in prison in just the US alone? They could, I mean, just get everyone who's on death row or serving out a life sentence in prison and just give them to the aliens. There you go. We don't need to sacrifice our own civilians or just hunt people down, pry them away from family, friends. Even then, I think they only took like just adult humans. I don't think they never like showed them taking any children either.
2 million in America.
Or no, I think our share. I think like all the nations of the world all had a set quota, and I think ours was 800,000.
Oh, okay.
800,000 people were to be selected and taken out of 8 million across all the world's nations.
Yeah.
But it is just that. I mean, why would you even want to just take innocent people and just have them be conducted by the aliens? And even then, the aliens themselves. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's sort of like the old the dragon Dragon Slayer story, or any story where they take the virgin bride from the village and give her to the monster.
Yeah, it's sort of like that.
Yeah, it's just on a grand scale.
Yeah, but even then, the aliens themselves, sometimes a bit of their motives don't really match up. Sometimes they actually are trying to just examine some humans who they think they actually do scans of them, and there's some sort of anomaly in a person's blood. They will examine them, and hopefully that they can extract whatever sort of like material they need to make their vaccine for this virus, which is just like this sort of like thing where just their whole body can get like scab over or whatever. And they try to just like scan people. They could have easily just done that. If they're advanced enough to get from wherever star system they came from to our planets, if they have immense powerful scanning technology, they could just scan people and they actually find some small anomalies, do some more testing on them, and then just extract whatever they need from those people that meet their requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the thing is, if they do meet the requirements, these people actually could survive the process they use, where it basically just rents the human down to nothing. But it just extracts it and causes like their skin to blister and boil while they're in like these sort of like gel looking cocoon things. And it's just like that. I mean, and of course, like in the obligatory way to make it more convenient to the plot is that the scientist's daughter is actually one of these anomalies they need to probably process. They probably need not process as many humans as they have to. So I mean, if they could just do that and just scan the population, there they go. They could just do that easily. There's just two glaring plot holes that they could have easily done. But again, another issue is that the wormhole they use to get here only works one way. So they have it's only strong enough they can only send like all the shipments of the human blood back to their home planet until it collapses. But they're pretty much stuck. They're pretty much stuck in our solar system once it's all over. But yeah, why would you want to have I mean, people even in the movie are already mistrustful of the aliens already. So why would you want to have them around, considering that they pretty much just like killed numerous people before just to get the world's attention?
Yeah, just prove a point.
Yeah, and it's just a really strange, odd thing. But then again, sci-fi movie plots really kind of don't make sense a lot of times.
That's what I'm thinking right now. It's like the Sci-Fi Channel type movie. Have you been watching the Mandalorian or the Boba Fett show?
I have not been watching, but I think once the whole series comes out, I think I'll try to binge it as best I can.
Yeah.
But when I was down in Tennessee for the holidays, I actually watched the first episode, and I was pretty underwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but again, it really kind of shows. I know, like Midnight's Edge has talked about it a lot recently too. Is that Din Djarin in the Mandalorian acts more like Boba Fett than Boba Fett has in this whole show. I mean, we already got the vibe at the end of season 2 that he's gonna be just like Jabba, and he's gonna like tell everyone to respect him through sheer ruthlessness, and that's more in line of what Boba Fett would be.
Yep.
But he's trying to like say, "Oh, I'm just gonna rule with respect." Like, all right, so you're gonna bite them over for blue milk? Like, come on, Boba. That's not you.
I'm wondering if they aren't setting him up to like be sort of a respite or a spot for the future of Disney Star Wars, like Boba Fett runs Mos Espa, and that's where, because they're going to do movies. I think Jon Favreau is attached to do movies with all this, so maybe they're just world building, you know?
Yeah, and some of them say that Star Wars is just not meant to do a TV show.
Yeah,
but you could say the same thing about, the Clone Wars was a pretty popular series.
I liked it.
And I know, like, again, but like I said, though, I'm trying to delve more into the expanded universe books. And my two favorite ones out of all of them, or at least the ones I've read so far, I have Choices of One. I have Republic Commando Order 66, but I have thoroughly enjoyed Darth Plagueis and the entirety of the Bane trilogy, but I think Path of Destruction is my favorite one.
I have two of those.
Yes, I remember showing those on one of Phil's streams earlier.
Yeah, I just picked up several more, but I'm trying to read them too, man. I'm finding a lot of different content to go to because I feel like we live in like a dark age of entertainment. Everything is subpar to me.
Yes.
Not like, I'm not mad about it. I was at first. I was kind of outraged about a lot of things, but I came down a little bit and just reasoned with myself. I was like, you know what? I can go find, there's plenty of movie. Like you just named that movie. I've never even heard of it, but the concept sounds interesting. Obviously it's going to be a Sci-Fi Channel original or whatever, but I'm going back and watching stuff I never watched before. I'm going back and reading graphic novels and comic book runs that I never read. I'm going back and reading books and catching up on like the Star Wars EU.
Yeah, exactly. So
filling that void of escapism that's lacking in this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all people want. We don't need to be preached down to over and over again. And this is like more. I'm going to be annoyed by this if people are coming at me with this, saying, "Oh, you can't have these opinions. You don't know." I'm trying to tell a story, pal. If I wanted to hear people preaching to me about how the world is falling apart or anything, I just watch the news. Which then you don't want to watch it. You don't watch it anymore because you don't really trust what they say. Because for the last 10, 20 years, they've been like, just like since He's been sensationalizing stuff for the sake of ratings. That's all they've been
Oh yeah,
doing.
yeah. Outrage, outrage, outrage.
Yeah.
I think to be a good content creator, I'm just guessing, but I'm just like to be a good content creator. I think you need to read good content, or you need to watch good content.
Exactly, and that's what it is. I mean, that's what I got. That's what I've got inspired by. I mean,
Yeah.
Even then, like, I'm also sort of like delving the idea of romance stories too.
Yeah, I heard you mention something on with you was on with Phil or something one day. You said something about
Yeah,
romance.
it was
You're
like
working-
again, but I think, like I said, but also this story that the element of that romance story sort of like ties in to Adam Omnick's there. So there's a little bit
Yeah.
of a connection because even then I already made references to other things like the corporation that built the city that he lives in. Because again, my two protagonists of that love story also moved to another like self-sustaining city out in the middle of Arizona.
Mhm.
It was built from an old town. And the same thing, sort of like a conspiracy, the same type of experiment that created but they're literally like the first of these people with psychic abilities that happen when like another corporation was doing experimentation with anything that had to do with fusion. And it was all due to a mineral that was mined from an asteroid that somehow managed to stop and is carefully orbiting around the Earth.
Oh, okay.
And even then, like private corporations have like exploited the asteroid, especially the Japanese company I mentioned.
You know
And
that's what's going to happen if we do ever get get up there and find like a bunch of gold in an asteroid or something. They're going to be like a space race.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, the idea it's not going to be like a space race between nations. It's going to be like the future of space exploration is going to be done by private industry.
Corporation.
Yes. But he doesn't actually. But I know there is some voice that this CEO and like own and like founder of the company has. But he's doing simple stuff like lobbying to have like any other resources like oil, but putting it instead of like phasing it out. He's saying that we should just have it all in reserve just in case any disaster happens. We can just use it all up and bounce back from disaster a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole thing now. But he is trying to do more because that's the only thing he also uses the company devils in robotics, green energy, and of course space mining.
Yeah.
And of course, just like I think we already know that there are two people in the running to becoming it. But in their world, he has probably become the world's first trillionaire. And of course, he even gives donations to another there are at least three big mega corporations. Another one of them is dabbling in trying to do reconstitution projects to help repair environmental damage. And this is like an Indian-based company, and he's donated a lot to this company. And not to mention, this Japanese company not only has holdings across its home country of Japan, but also in Korea and China, and also cities across the Western United States, and has even helped rebuild the infrastructure of many Western states.
Mm-hmm.
And it's brought a lot of economic growth to the United States as well. So they're pretty much living in a pretty prosperous world for the most part.
Probably where we need to be.
Yes, but like I said, it's pure optimism about this world. I mean, given it's all the more better to see how this world has changed, how better this world is compared to that. And that's just and this is just something. It's just like what with Star Trek. I mean, it's a world we can aspire to.
Yeah, sure. I believe that. I think it's a good inspiration for sure.
Yeah.
Star Trek is a real good inspiration.
Yeah. But like I said, though, the thing is, the characters, of course, but my main character, well, there are two main characters, the couple itself, but it's the girl that's the one that has the psychic abilities, because her father was a part of the team that was conducting the experiments, but something went wrong, and of course, reactor that they were working on exploded in a big old cloud of radioactive particles. But it created it created a new form of radiation called delta radiation. It's not as pass through as alpha radiation, but it's not as deadly as gamma radiation.
Right.
But the thing is, like I said, though, this mineral that was used is supposed to be like a very heavily conductive element, and was relatively unknown. Since it probably is like the ultimate conductor, this corporation who first noticed this thing did tests on it and see that maybe we can harness this element for power. But of course, like I said, though, they used it in combination of just like using concentrated bursts of alpha radiation, and then boom. But the character's mother, who was a sort of therapist for the company, was exposed in utero, was exposed to the radiation, and of course she still was able to have her child at the time. But of course, the scientist, her father, of course, they fell in love while they were in the company, and one single night of passion led to her conception, and being exposed to the radiation while she was in the womb, her body absorbed it, and that's exactly what happened. But her powers didn't start manifesting until she was about 5 or 6 years old. And even then, when her mother sees her doing this kind of stuff, she tells her husband, "Honey, there's something really up with our daughter." And at first, he doesn't think about it. But when he actually does see, it's a more dangerous thing. When we actually see how dangerous her powers are when she's angry. This is when she's a child. And she still goes through her life as a normal kid.
Can she manipulate people?
She can do this. She has all the standard powers you would expect from something like telepathy, psychokinesis, that kind of stuff. But the interesting thing about about the story is that she can actually lucidly dream and live out her dreams, and even also bring other people into her dreams with her.
Wow.
So that's the interesting thing about it. And this is how how my two characters are able to bond. But since the fact that she's also feels like she's a bit of an outsider at school, and she prefers to stay that way. She doesn't really care about being the most popular kid in school. But even then, someone who is popular obviously picks on her a lot.
Yeah.
But the story is just more or less like how the story starts off is that we see her boyfriend only 5 years after some major incident that happened with her, and he's like obviously talking to he's actually talking to a therapist about all of this. And he starts saying that he's been having dreams about this girl. And of course, like again, these dreams are more intimate, to say the least.
Well, that's cool, man. Do you watch any anime?
Not a lot. I mean, my first exposure to anime was shows like Sailor Moon when I was like 5 years old, but I'm not not really sort of like into that sort of thing. I mean, you could say there is some bit of inspiration there, because I like the idea of the concept of heroes transforming into heroes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That idea. Yeah. But again, I've grown a lot better. I've watched movies like Kiki's Delivery Service, which is one of my favorite Studio Ghibli films. And of course, you have like shows like Robotech or Macross if you're one of the anime purist out there.
Yeah.
And of course, Akira, which again was the major inspiration for this sci-fi romance story, and a bit of it for the main antagonist of my magnum opus story.
What about any My Hero Academia? You ever watch that?
No, I have not watched it, but I think my sister's a bit of a fan of that show. She's more into anime and K-pop. She's more into that stuff than I am. But I mean, like I said, tokusatsu is like really my jam in the sorry, I'm just trying to see anything on my phone. It's been my jam for a long time.
I just think that let's see, My Hero Academia is kind of like X-Men.
Yeah, where you have superheroes and a superhero academy. Yeah. That much I got the gist of. So that's primarily three of the stories I'm currently working on. I'm alternating between them, and I know still I kind of get blocked from here and there, but I still overall have a clear vision of what these stories are gonna play, how these stories are gonna play out.
That's cool, man. I know you said you had that one idea from like 12 years ago.
Yeah. I think that was my magnum opus story, but a lot of some of the stories that I had come up with, again, some of these were just like more or less like self-insert stories. Yeah, because I know, again, you're a 9-year-old kid, you want to be a part of this kind of stuff.
Let's see what else. You watch Peacemaker?
I have not watched that, but personally, I absolutely hated John Cena in that movie. I hated him. I liked Idris Elba more. And had Colonel Flag was way better in the movie than he was in the original Suicide Squad, but it kind of makes you wonder. It may be more or less like a bit of a redo of the original Suicide Squad.
I don't know why they went with John Cena on this. I really don't.
Yeah, and given some notable things he said, yeah, I just can't really buy this guy. Just like why does he get his own series? I mean, it'd be cooler if we got one more different ones about somebody like Enchantress, or see how further that goes. But I hate even more that Flag gets killed off and at near the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't like it. Yeah,
but. And we all know, of course, Harley Quinn was literally literally the best character in the story.
I mean, maybe they should have just went right into a Suicide Squad series.
Yeah, I mean, also we've had there was that animated Suicide Squad series called Assault on Arkham.
I love that.
And if there's anything there are a couple shows that I love that are more anime inspired. One of them, of course, was the Teen Titans series, which I do have the entire series on DVD, including the movie Trouble in Tokyo, which I absolutely love that story. And plus, we finally get closure on the whole Robin Starfire romance.
Yeah.
So
what about Judas Contract?
I don't think I've watched that, but I know I'm glad since I have an account on HBO Max, I'm watching it through my sister.
Yeah,
I can probably get through and give that a watch. But another sort of anime inspired show is Code Lyoko. I'm not sure if you've heard of that show.
I mean,
yeah, I think it's a real. I know it's
it's French.
Yeah, it's a French show. I mean, the French really seem to be inspired by had a lot anime inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Even there's a more recent one, but I mean, it's crazy how it started out with its aesthetic as being like an actual anime, but then they started to go for the 3D animation style, and it really kind of doesn't look all that good, but. Mm-hmm. The best way to describe this other show with the 3D animation, it's a bit contrived. I mean, I've watched the show, and this is a more recent show. It's not Code Lyoko, but
it's almost 100 episodes.
Yeah. Code Lyoko lasted across 4 seasons from 2003 to 2007.
Yep.
It was aired on Cartoon Network, but again, in France, his home country, it was aired on both Canal J and France 3. And it has been broadcast in numerous countries, and even it was very popular in Japan. And people have referred to it as French anime. But the story surrounds 4, boarding school kids one of them, who's like the big tech genius of them, discovers a supercomputer underneath an old abandoned factory, and inside it is an entire virtual universe called Lyoko. And the whole big mission is, of course, they find out that there's also there's an entity inside the program that actually starts attacking the real world by activating towers on the virtual world.
It's called Xana.
Yeah, Xana is the program, but I know it's spelled like it's an anagram for some weird reason, but we don't really know what it is. It's just some program. It doesn't have any like actual face or something, but the things it does face are monsters and creatures that look like giant enemy crabs, tiny cockroaches, hornets, some blocks, and they're literally just called blocks.
Oh, okay.
And even giant freaking spider enemies they had to fight too.
Yeah, I never even heard of this. I guess I was in the military during this time, so I didn't watch a lot of TV, but I was always going.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of ironic though. I know the show itself was actually localized internally in France when they were exporting it to the US. But there is a lot of elements. They do say certain words in one episode to make it seem like, oh, this takes place in an American city, but you can clearly see that this is more or less takes place in France.
I bet you loved Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, that show.
You had to been about 11, 12 when that came out. 10.
Yeah, at least about that. But I know. I never really watched it, but I started watching it like years ago, and I can say it truly does feel like a good show. It really captures the imagination. It's ironic that Dave Filoni also worked on that show too.
I forgot about that. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you say you didn't watch the whole thing, or?
I actually tried to binge watch on Netflix a couple years ago, but after the certain situation with one movie that, of course, why does it even exist is the reason why I canceled my subscription to the series to Netflix. But now that Power Rangers is going to be exclusively on there now, or at least the newer seasons that are coming out, or they're going to try to come out with now because Hasbro are now the rights holders to it. I might just consider resubscribing to it, but I know I heard that even now there's going to be like a big price increase to it.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
but they're trash. Such a trash service. All of them pretty much are. They're all subpar. I mean, you would think like, they would be in steady competition with each other, and you would think like we would get like all these mega Star Wars series, like they really pump the money into them and stuff, and they just doesn't seem like they do that. But
yeah, exactly.
Obviously, we just went through this pandemic or whatever. But
yeah, and I know the thing is, even some like movies were just dumped on Disney Plus. I know they probably had plans for theatrical releases like Soul, and of course for Luca, which I can probably tell they said they probably may be actually good films.
Yeah.
But I know, like, the whole thing with streaming and stuff like that, it's just like, but I know, but Midnight's Edge, they really feel like this is not gonna like be a death sentence. They're still gonna like try to like adapt to it still. I mean, I went out to go to the movie theaters to go see Free Guy back in like 2021.
I like that movie.
Yes, it is good. And definitely before I went down for the holidays, I went to go see Ghostbusters Afterlife twice. And I even have like my thoughts on the movie. It's a little section called Chomping at the Bit. And I think I want to do more of those and actually have discussions with others about that.
So obviously you liked Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Yes, I did. Thoroughly loved it.
Sony's doing a good job.
Yeah, lately. I mean, I know. The only problem is it didn't make as much money.
Yeah.
As like Sony would have hoped it to make, but it truly felt like a movie for the fans. And that's the same thing you could say about Spider-Man: Far From Home. It was truly a film made for the fans.
Sony. And then you got Sony's also doing the Cobra Kai, which is another fan service nostalgia throwback.
Yeah, and that's what you do. This is how you do fan service. And even in many ways, my superhero magnum opus story, it's my love letter to it's my love letter to the genre of superheroes because I love because again, characters are enthralling, and that's all I want to do when I write that story or any story I write. You capture the heroism of these characters, and you capture that they still, even though they go through a lot of stuff, but these characters are also not invincible either. They are gonna go through some stuff. They are gonna get hurt. They are gonna get their asses kicked a lot of the time.
Yeah. They let's see. I was looking up Sony right now. Venom was the other one this year. I don't know how well that did, but it did pretty good, I think, at the time.
Yeah, but again, I really don't understand. I never really saw the appeal of Venom. I mean, it seems like Sony, I know with all the problems that was going on with like the MCU, I don't know how you can actually do a member of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery without
Exactly.
Spider-Man. And it's the same thing.
It'd be it's like Black Adam. I mean, you gotta have a journey for that character through villainhood, if that's the right word. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they need to be a villain first. And so I always had a problem with the Venom movie because the origin wasn't right.
Yeah. And heck, there's even iterations where I think J. Jonah Jameson's son gets like coming in contact with the symbiote at points.
Right.
And I know that the Spider-Man game by Insomniac, I think they set up the idea that Harry is going to be Venom. So they set that up. And it's just like that idea, though. The same thing. I know you're trying to do more stuff. I know Joker was more of a one-off thing.
Yeah.
But I know they kind of. I know there's a lot of things they did rip off from other movies to make that movie work. But the best thing is I can describe it as beautifully disturbing.
Yeah. If they would leave it alone, I think they're gonna make a sequel, man.
Yeah. But again, same thing can be said about like I'm not sure how Robert Pattinson's gonna pull it off as Batman. I'm not sure about that still.
Yeah, there's no telling. I don't want to bash it because I'm afraid what should be good. Like everything I'm seeing, I don't like the marketing on it. The posters
yeah, but you can
you
can hope that it's gonna be good though, and still, I mean, I know, and the same thing can be said about Batman v Superman. You had two Titanic Titans, but it would have been a lot more interesting if they brought back Christian Bale as Batman. It would be a lot more interesting. Because I think even in like I Am Legend they teased that idea on like a movie poster in
I remember that. Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's it. That was I got excited when I saw that because one of my favorite comics was the Jeff Loeb run of Batman Superman. Really good, well written comics, man. And what I like about it is you can see some of the artistry in here. It's real good.
Oh yeah, and it looks good.
Yeah, but they really explored their dynamic. One being a human, one being a OP superhero. How like Batman can cover for Superman, and how Superman can cover for Batman on different. Like obviously, if Kryptonite's involved, then Batman goes in and gets rid of it. Stuff like that. I mean, they really cover the extreme ends of both heroes. And how they work together well as a team. So when I saw that on the I Am Legend, that little Easter egg, I was excited, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
that's it didn't really deliver for me.
Yeah, but the same thing goes for mainstream comics. Like it's kind of crazy, but now we have independent creators. That's what the whole thing of like Ethan Van Schreier's company is trying to do. It's what World Class Bull Series is trying to do. They're trying to create their own comics that are inspired so they can be just something that you can capture. Even then, they're coming up with like their new things. Even John Million is doing his Godlike saga, which looks really interesting. And I think even Mandy Summers, like she's writing a comic that she's gonna be coming out with soon at some point. and that's something I actually think too, because we have like those people. We're creative. I'm a creative person, and I just want to have these stories like set out for other people so they can enjoy them. I mean, for the characters for my romance story, this is more or less to like appeal to all those introverts out there. This is not something. This is not something that is not going to be like, oh, it's gonna be like the Notebook with like psychic powers or anything like that. It's just a unique little
The Time
story.
Traveler's Wife or something.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's just gonna be a little bit of a sci-fi story, but you have those somber moments with these characters and the trials and journey they go through together.
Yeah.
And even then, there's like things that they have to deal with that. Even then, one of the characters. It's more or less like a 3-part story. The second part, which I'm currently working on right now, is like they have to deal with. One of them is dealing with the idea that there is another psionic like her out there, or basically this person. This person is a lot more different, and this character is literally insane. And this is where the whole problem with the whole conflict of the story is just him. At some points, he's slowly mentally torturing my main character to the point where she almost questions her sense of reality. She doesn't know. She won't even know what's real at any point anymore. And even though that they want to, like, they still love each other, but they still are willing to support each other through their lives, because this story is more or less how relationships should be. And I do kind of give a bit of a critique on modern relationships with other side characters in the story, but it's more or less about that. Like when you read these characters, this is how mutual respect should be done for if you're in a relationship with anybody.
Yeah.
Regardless of all that other stuff. It doesn't matter, gay or straight.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things you could really talk about. And I mean, I really wanted to do this for like 3 or 4 hours if I had more people to come on and talk.
No,
But like I said, though, I think I'm not sure. I've even tried to retweet the stream out, but
yeah, I did too a couple times. My thing is I work weekdays, so I haven't, and we've been pretty busy this month.
I know,
so
I know.
I haven't been streaming much this month, but I saw you on here, man. I wanted to say happy birthday to you, man, and always have a good time streaming with you, man.
Always. Thanks a bunch, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, man. Have a good one, dude. And when I get up and running or something, man, come by my channel, dude. And
always,
if I'll have it opened up or whatever, you can hop on, man, anytime.
All right. Peace out, man.
We'll see you, man.
Bye. So yeah, lengthy conversation right there. That was good. This has been a great birthday for me. And I look forward to doing more. And I'm glad that all the stuff I shared in this video, there's more to it to come. And I'm happy that everyone who showed up and watched, I'm glad you all came by. And I know I want to do this for like a few hours, but I guess this is better off just leaving it like 2 hours at least. But yeah, this is all the stuff I'm going to be doing as a writer, as a podcaster. I really want to push this channel as far as it can go. And I'm really glad to have everyone here along for the ride. And I only hope that you will stick with me on it. Because I know, again, there's a lot of this stuff that I don't really know about it. But I know if people are willing to help out there and help me with certain things, trying to make this channel better, I'm welcome to it. So thank you everyone who stopped by. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'm going to be doing more stuff in the future. Oh, yeah, and tomorrow I probably will be doing more of the Frozen Wilds DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn. So stay tuned for that. And thank you, everyone. This has been a great birthday. God bless, and see you guys later.